Hey guys, welcome to the Beyond Rich podcast. I'm Natalie Lemas, your host. Brittany Brands with me here, co-host of the podcast. We are excited to chat with you today about how I built a six-figure passive income stream. So I guess we should, let's just talk about maybe how we got the idea, Ugo and I, and
take us back to the beginning.
Give them some tips.
Mm-hmm.
How about some tips?
Yeah.
Well, the beginning was my mom got sick. Really sick, had a lot of health problems. And Ugo's family had always invested in real estate. He comes from an entrepreneurial family too. So they started in selling shoes in Mexico in a flea market off of a blanket on the floor.
Mm.
And they're believers and they were tithing and seeking God, and the Lord blessed their business, and they went from that to a chain of 14 shoe stores in Guadalajara. From literal poverty, both of his parents grew up with extreme poverty. Long story, amazing story, a huge testimony. But anyway, so he grew up in a family business, but also his mom and dad always invested in real estate throughout. So it was always on his radar. And my parents had all invested in real estate too. But then my mom got sick and she stopped working, actively, doing commission sales. She was a commercial real estate agent. And Ugo and I just had this very strong desire in our heart. We're we need to have money that's running for us in the background without having to work.
Yeah.
It seemed like an insurance policy, you know? Because we knew we were gonna be entrepreneurs, doing things, not having a 401k or whatever. I mean, we do have a 401k now, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We wanted cash flow. Mm-hmm. So, that's kind of what happened. We decided that we were going to do it. I think that's a key is a lot of people they talk about doing it and stuff, but we officially decided.
So when your mom got sick was kind of the wake up call for you guys of we need to prioritize this. We need to make this happen.
And figure it out.
So what did your financial situation look like when that
I was making 80 grand, maybe something like that, selling real estate.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Something in there.
Okay. And Ugo?
He was at the bank making 50 grand.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. As a bank, I don't know what they call him, financial concierge. That's what was his title.
Okay.
So, yeah. So then I really, really started selling real estate more, cold calling, working, grinding, those things. And so then we had a savings account being built up. And then with our little savings account, we bought a duplex. Then we sold the duplex, still selling real estate, savings account, growing, and then we bought a 5-plex.
Okay, so let's go back, because once you got this idea that you need to have passive income, you're going to invest in real estate. Mm-hmm. You didn't have the money then to do it.
No.
So how did you build out that plan, and what did you have to do to buy the first building?
Yeah, well, it's actually kind of a longer story, because when we first actually had the idea, we were in debt. So we were $30,000 in debt. We had $30,000 between my car and a credit card.
Okay.
And so we were we have to do something. So we did Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University, shout out, and we followed it to a T. So we did the whole budget thing, we did the pocket money thing, and I think that was critical, because most people, as their income goes up, as they sell more deals and make more money, what happens? Their lifestyle creeps.
Yeah.
And then they never can achieve the goal that they want to. So that was critical. So we were we were batting down the hatches. I mean, I didn't dye my hair. I didn't get my nails done. We didn't go out to eat. We lived austere.
While you were going after and making more cold calls and wanting to increase.
Yes.
So did you guys sit down and plan out this vision, or did you have a set amount, or was it just we know we need to do this? So
our goal was to replace Ugo's $50,000 a year.
So that was the motivator.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you think, okay, in order to buy our first building, we need about this much? Did you think about
honestly,
that?
no.
Okay.
We were just we just saved and saved and saved.
And it was, we got to pay off this debt.
Well, first we paid off the debt. Yeah,
Okay.
we paid off the debt pretty quick, actually.
Yeah.
I don't remember how quick it was, but it seemed like it went quick.
Cool.
Ugo would know.
Okay.
Because I was more making the money as far as doing the real estate transactions,
and he was handling them.
He was managing it all behind the scenes.
Yeah. Okay.
And making sure that I didn't spend too much, because we had pocket money. And I mean, I was horrible with money back then. Like literally coming to the Lord and like getting closer with God and like admitting all of my like weaknesses and all of my propensities and like all the things and having him just like renew my mind has made us so much wealthier because I'm so much less of a spender.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I know I used to spend literally any dollar I got in my pocket money, I would overdraw my pocket money every month.
Yeah.
So much so that Ugo had to put like instead of where it overdraws, like it just declines your card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because you get charged fees when you over
$25.
Yeah.
I know. It's like it was really bad.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Mm-mm.
So, okay, so
Yeah. So
you paid off debt.
We paid off the debt,
and then you started saving up money.
Yeah, and keeping our lifestyle very like. I mean, we still lived in the same house. This was really interesting. So my mom actually was the one. She was like, "You guys like should buy a bigger house." You know, not that our house was bad, but it was what they would call like a starter home. You know, It was 1,300 square feet. It was 3-bed, 2-bath. Like it was like really cozy. There was not. Was
that the house you lived in when we first met?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, it was 3 houses ago. Not the one you owned prior to this one, but the one before that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I've been there.
Yeah. I know you've been there actually.
Oh, okay,
it just finally clicked. I was like,
Yeah.
have you? But yeah, that just seems it just seems so long ago. But like we met we met December 2017.
Okay.
No, 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right around your birthday.
Okay.
So
So anyway, so that was the house, and your mom said
it was a small little house, right? Like it wasn't anything like, but like we were.
But it was nice. It was like
right, but we were like making money by that time. Like we lived in that house until 2019.
Okay.
So and we moved in 2012. Yeah, so that tells you like 2012 to 2019. I don't know how long that is. What's that? 5 years?
7.
7. Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The time.
Yeah.
I've been with Ugo for forever, it seems now, in my head. But yeah, so like we're making good money. So it seems like you should buy a better house. A bigger house. But we didn't. We waited. And so we bought the investment property before we bought like a better house.
That's cool. That's smart. And
Ugo wanted to move into it. He was like, let's move into the investment property. I was like,
you know
no.
what's really interesting
I didn't want to.
is married couples often don't want to talk about money. And I think there's a critical component in getting on the same page of what do we really want. Because if you sat a married couple down and said, okay, given what you guys are making right now, if you live this way, you can live comfortably. You guys were fine. Uncomfortable in an American sense, probably in a consumerism sense. You said no. You didn't say yes to everything.
We said no to a lot.
You didn't go without.
No.
You weren't going to bed hungry or something like that.
No.
And so if you sat a married couple down and said, here's the way you could live. Would you rather buy this house, nicer, bigger house, or would you rather buy an investment property that replaces? Did that one investment property replaces?
That one did, yeah.
See, to say
Such a
this
blessing.
one investment property can replace his income, he could quit his job, which would you prefer? You know that 99% of people would say, I would choose this lifestyle, this house, and the investment property. However, no one sits down to actually talk about possibilities.
No.
And what's really possible if you're intentional with your spending and your money, paying off debt, saving, living below your means so that you can save, delaying the bigger house, delaying the nicer car, whatever it might be, the vacations, the Disney vacations.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, we didn't basically no vacations. And then also, Ugo was driving a $3,500 car.
Yeah.
And I was driving, we had paid it off, but it was an $8,000 car.
Yeah. So that's I want people to hear that part because
I think you're genius in saying that because the thing is the number one thing to building passive income is you have to have a vision.
You have to have a vision.
Because you're going to have to sacrifice.
Well, this clicked in for Nick and I when we got married and we started talking about money because sure, we can go on the vacation and we can buy the clothes and we can buy the car and we can buy the bigger house or we can Or would we rather save so that, Nick can quit his job? Like, that's been the...
Pay off your house.
Yeah.
Pay off your house.
That's what it was. It was,
I'm like, it was pay off your house, Brett.
It was pay off our house. That's what it was.
Remember your own story.
Yeah, completely get out of debt. That's what
with a paid off house and everything.
Yeah, that was important to Nick. And so I had this revelation when we got married and we started having these conversations that I'm like, how can anyone ever be on the same page? Like, how do you even know where you're going? And couples are fighting over, you're spending too much money at Target, or you're spending too much.
Well, the reason
when really
that they're...
the bigger conversations should be like, what are you ultimately working towards?
It's because they don't have a shared vision.
Yeah.
A shared dream, a shared goal, a shared outcome.
And arguably, a lot of people don't even have shared bank accounts. Married people.
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
Well, the reason that you wouldn't have a shared bank account is because you don't have a shared vision.
Yeah.
So, and the Bible says where there is no vision, the people perish.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but people are so afraid. Like, okay, well, what if my husband and I don't have the same vision?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you'll never know unless you have a conversation.
Yeah.
And it's all about give and take.
Yeah.
And finding a shared, like, how are you going to know that you have to grow together, right? And and I think that that's why personal development is kind of scary, because when a couple, either it's a husband or a wife, whatever, starts to kind of go into that direction where they're bettering themselves and they're reading all these books and reading all these things, they start to drift from their spouse, and it's actually not godly. It's not God honoring. It becomes very self-focused. Oh, my husband or my wife is not growth minded. She doesn't have a growth mindset. Like, it becomes actually adversarial.
Yeah.
And it breeds a spirit of pride, and it causes division in the home.
Yeah.
And that's not good. I remember when Ugo and I went to Dave Ramsey Financial Peace, Dave gave this example about like these Clydesdale horses. This changed everything, because I grew up in a home where my parents were married, but they were very like independently focused. Like, I don't know that my parents like had a shared vision in a sense. Like, it seemed like my mom kind of had like more of the idea or the vision, and then she would come to my dad, and my dad would be like, okay, fine, do it or don't do it. I agree, I don't agree. It wasn't like, this is what we are going to build. This is what we are working towards. Like, we've sat down. It's intentional. We've had the conversation. And maybe I'm wrong, but that was my impression as a child. So, whereas like, I don't know, I feel like Ugo and I are open with our kids. Like, our kids are young. Yeah. But with Tino, he's 7, we talk about things very openly about like what we're working towards, what we're doing.
Yeah.
So anyways, when in 2012, when we were just very newly married, went to Dave Ramsey, because we were in therapy, we went to counseling because we were fighting all the time. Yeah. And the counselor was like, you guys need Dave Ramsey. You need like financial peace. You don't need necessarily like this type of counseling. You're all your fights are on money. And I'm like, yeah, no kidding. Okay. So we didn't have any money. Yeah. So we just fought all the time and the same thing you said. Why'd you spend this? Why'd you the typical stuff, right? So anyways, and I wasn't willing to submit to my husband. Like, I didn't want to let him lead. I wanted to control everything, but it was about fear. And it was also the fact that like, I feel like women, we have a hard time submitting if there's no vision. Like, what am I submitting to? Like, I'm not going to just submit, like, where are we going? What are you leading me in? Like, and he wasn't walking with the Lord. I wasn't either, right? So it just becomes like, there's a ton of confusion. Yeah. And what do you do? And how do you operate in your marriage? Well, Dave gave this like analogy, and they took these 2 Clydesdale horses, so like very strong, very big horses that pull like carriages, I guess.
Yeah. No, I know Clydesdales.
And 2 Clydesdale horses that don't know each other very well. No. Repeat. So 1 Clydesdale horse, I'm just going to make up the numbers, but the principle's the same. Okay. 1 Clydesdale horse can pull, let's just say, 1,000 pounds by itself. If you bring another one, you would think, okay, well, 2 together, they should be able to pull 2,000, right? 1,000 pounds each. Well, if they're not in sync and if they don't know each other well, like if they're new, they actually pull 500.
Whoa.
So that's why it feels so crappy in marriage in the beginning. Because you're not, right, you're like, well, I could do better on my own type of thing. Right, like, and you know what I'm trying to say? Because you're not in sync. You don't know each other. There's no shared vision. You're not yoked to each other yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then they did the study. and it's true. You can like Google it and it's all over the internet. 2 Clydesdales that have been working together and like are in sync. They know each other. They know their weaknesses and their strengths. They know when one gets tired. They know when the other one needs to pick up the speed. And they know
That's so cool.
They can actually pull 3 times as much as one.
Cool.
So that was everything. Once I heard that, I was sold out. I was like, okay, Ugo, so what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like it clicked for me. I'm like, so what's our vision? What are we doing? And literally, Britt, like, it's actually, I think I underestimated because it's like crazy. Like in 2012, like we wrote down everything that we are living today.
It was 12 years ago.
By the grace of God. Like starting in $30,000 in debt.
Yeah.
To now we have a multi-million-dollar real estate. First of all, multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah.
Multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio and a 6-figure passive income stream.
Mm-hmm.
And we can be like wildly like generous with our time and money. Like it's wild.
It's so cool.
Like with tips, Britt, like our, tips, the nonprofit 4-day personal growth retreat, that's a ministry. Like we had to borrow $250 from my mom to instate the nonprofit.
Wow.
We didn't have $250.
When was that?
That was in 2019. Wow. We had like spent all of our money and like we were just very, and that was probably, it was around, I don't know if it was probably after we bought the investment property. Like we had no cash.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we had no
so,
cash.
So, still lessons. It wasn't just like, okay, that first investment, like everything was perfect.
Well, because we put so much money into it to remodel it. We had to remodel all these things. So like it was very like, we would like save and then we would like invest and then we would like have no money and then it would have to like wait for it to replenish. And it was crazy.
Yeah.
Times.
Well, and there's so many more like lessons and things that we could pick from this whole timeline.
Lesson 1 is have a vision.
Yeah, and I think that the part about like pay off debt, control your spending, live below your means so that you can save up this money. Like honestly, that's the part, no matter where you're at, like that's what most people need to hear. Like,
totally.
Even if you're making $5 million a year and this is your goal, like the same principles apply. Yeah.
I mean, you can spend all of your money. You can spend more than you make.
Yeah. No matter how much you make.
No matter how much you make.
So,
I had that a real estate deal, and that guy, he sent me his tax return, and he made $600,000 net income. Mm-hmm. And he didn't have $3,000 to give me an earnest money check. Mm-hmm. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
I was like, how could you make $600,000 and not have $3,000 in your bank account? Like, how?
Yeah.
Spending. It's really easy. There's a lot of things to spend your money on.
Yeah.
So it's about having, because what are you willing to sacrifice for? That was for me because I have a natural tendency to like spend. Like I like to spend money. Like it's fun. Not as much anymore now that I've gotten closer to the Lord. Now I don't have that, but like it was very much like as a part of like the lust of the flesh, like my propensities. Like we all have different like propensities for sinful behaviors. That was like me. It was like overconsumption.
Yeah.
But anyways, oh crap, I forgot what I was saying. Spending, I like to just spend. But I was willing to sacrifice the spending or curb it significantly for the vision.
Yeah.
And Ugo would always remind me. He'd always say, Natalie, like we're going towards this. We're going towards this. And that's
really cool. And at that time, you didn't know the Lord.
No.
So now that you know the Lord, it's like everything's next level. Because now it's not just a vision that you and Ugo created. Now it's like the Lord put this on your heart.
Yeah.
And now it's like honoring the Lord to walk in this. So now it's not like, oh, I'm going to curb my spending. I'm just saying today, now it's like, I'm not going to curb. I'm going to curb my spending for this vision. Now it's like I'm honoring the Lord by walking this out, and this is what's required of me.
Yeah.
So now it's like next level.
Yeah, once the Lord shows you a vision, it's like, okay, you're all in. I mean, not everyone.
Yeah.
When they get a vision from the Lord, not every time they receive it and say, yes, Lord, I want to.
Right.
But hopefully.
Right. Yeah, well, someone's going to hear that and be fired up about it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
yeah.
What else?
So the vision, your expenses under control, And then, having your savings growing so that you can invest in a real estate property, having a mentor.
Okay, so that's the last thing.
Yeah. So, you have to have a mentor to invest in real estate.
Yeah. Well, I watched you walk through the spreadsheet yesterday.
Yeah.
And
yeah, what did you think? Tell them about it. Tell our friends about this spreadsheet and tell them what you thought. I'm really, because we haven't talked about it. Like, what was your aha from like watching me walk through it and talk about investing in a really detailed manner?
Oh, my aha was...
Or like, what did you think?
mean, I was like, I was just like, I don't know any of this. Like, if I'm ever in that situation, I'm going to ask Natalie about it. So to your point, like, get a mentor.
Yeah.
Because so many people, this is so interesting, isn't it? That so many people think they've got to figure it out all on their own.
Impossible. I mean, not impossible, but like, you know.
And so to humble yourself, to just say, I've never done this before. I don't know. This is a big decision. I need advice on this.
Huge.
Like, it would be like, if you're going to buy a new car, let's say, like, you would go to the dealership and you'd ask questions, or you'd research online, or you'd read things, or, you know, whatever your personality is to, like, do that. But you wouldn't just walk in and be like, well, I've read books and I know about cars, and so I know what I'm doing. Like, you know, so it's like, why is for whatever reason, real estate investing, people think that they should just walk into it and, like, they want to act like they know it all.
It's horrible.
It's really interesting.
It is really interesting.
So just admit you don't know. You've never done this before.
It's an insecurity, and people just want to cover it up and pretend like they should know. I think that's...
That they should know.
They should know, but you know what? And I had this huge aha, and it set me free. Like, I literally, like, this is exactly what I told myself. Natalie, nobody came out of the womb knowing how to invest in real estate, knowing what earnest money was, knowing what a return on investment is, knowing what cash on cash is. Like, nobody, like, I literally had this aha. I thought to myself, every person who knows this stuff was taught at one point. So that means they didn't know at one point, and now they do, because they asked questions.
Yeah.
And they did. They humbled themselves. They were hungry to just say, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Teach me.
Yeah.
Show me.
So that was my aha with the spreadsheet, was like, cool, I have a friend who knows this.
Yeah.
And that's going to be my resource should I ever decide I'm going to do this personally, or I'm going to learn this. Because for me to take that spreadsheet and say, oh, Natalie walked me through this, now I know how to do it, I don't. Like, that's just the truth.
I know, and that's the challenge.
That's the thing, is like, you've got to have a mentor, and you've got to be okay asking questions. You got to admit you don't know, especially for your first deal, you know, and then you're gonna learn more. And then you're gonna,
It's a big deal. Like, we're talking about, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars are at stake. Like, you don't want to just leave it up to chance or leave it up to a guesstimate. Like, you want to be solid. And in the numbers, it's not...
In the numbers, there's so much more. Like, residential real estate, it's completely different. It's like, it's where you live. There's so many other personal factors that are involved with that. You know, like, where you work, where do your kids go to school, like, you know, location. With investment, it's like, there's so many other things that go into it.
Yeah, it's all about the money.
It's all about the money.
The return, yeah.
And you got to know how to crunch the numbers and things to consider. I mean, there are many people that would look at that and be like, oh, I didn't realize that I need to account for replacing the batteries in the smoke detectors every year. I mean, that's such a minor expense, but it's like, yeah, these are the things that add up.
Oh, yeah.
Air filters and batteries and
blinds.
Something going wrong. Yeah, blinds, the carpet gets ruined, the paint, there's a hole in the wall, like all these little
appliances
things.
break.
Yeah.
How many years does the HVAC have left on it?
Yeah.
Like, there's just a lot to know. Not just, I don't want to discourage anyone. That's why I'm saying find a mentor.
Yeah.
And, like, a mentor who's actually done it.
Yeah. Like, not someone who's just...
has a real estate license.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to offend anyone.
So as a real estate agent, you know, I worked with investors.
Yeah.
I never pretended that I knew. The investors that I worked with, they knew. So I'm like,
I'll write it up for you.
I can get you the information.
Yeah.
They're running their own numbers.
Yeah.
And then, I can write you the contract. I can ask questions for you, but I never pretended.
I can negotiate on repairs.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So fine. And like there were plenty of investors that liked working with me just because I had so many listings and things that would
And
come
you were
up.
responsive and good to work
Yeah.
with. Yeah.
But outside of that, I'm like, I'm not,
I'm not going to advise you.
Yeah, I'm not going to advise you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend. So.
Well, that's good, and that's humility because a lot of agents do pretend, and it's scary.
They do. Well, and it's sad because you could put someone in a bad position. So
I never would want to do that. So so find a mentor. There are a lot of people that could mentor you.
Yeah.
If you want a mentor or you're interested in investing in real estate, they can DM me and I can hook them up with someone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I just think, ask God to put someone in your path or ask God to show you who you need to connect with.
Yeah.
Like there's
great books. Millionaire Real Estate Investor is a wonderful book.
Okay, that's good.
Mm-hmm. So I would start with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. I mean, I think that was really good.
Yeah. I could go into way more detail about the first deal and all of that. We could do another episode on like the first deal, like how much we bought it for, what, the repairs that we did, how did we learn about the rents and the market, like talking it through. I think that could be cool.
Yeah.
And so then that way they could kind of see what that looks like.
Cool.
But I feel like that should be another episode. But this is giving like a general overview of like, you got to have a vision.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're not going to be willing to make the sacrifices.
Exactly. The vision, the debt, and the spending.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the really big ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then get a mentor. So cool.
That was it. That was
good.
That shows you the roadmap. I mean, truly, that's what we did.
Yeah.
It's like the start of it all.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it.
Okay, like, share, subscribe, guys, and let us know if you have any other questions. We're making these episodes for you. So if you have any business questions, investing questions, send them our way. We want to make episodes that resonate with you, that teach you something, and that leave you with a takeaway. So have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.